Mark, thanks for joining.
Hi Jacob, good to meet you.
Pleasure. So tell me, you are in China now, working on an IPO for LMD. Tell us about your star products.
Basically, LMD has a unique technology that allows measuring blood pressure to medical accuracy, but without using the traditional cuff that has been used by doctors for over 100 years now. It's a very small sensor that can be built into smartphones, other mobile devices, smartwatches, etc. And is the first ever cuffless device that doesn't need a cuff even for calibration. So it's completely standalone.
And what are some of the ramifications of using this type of medical technology, for example, on mobile devices, compared to the traditional technology of using cuffs? What are the practical implications in the medical market for that?
I think the main difference that you see is just like when the camera was first moved into the smartphone, it's always with you. And the user's not making a separate purchase, it's something that's included in part of their daily life. So we now all take so many more photographs than we used to before the camera was integrated into the smartphone. The same with health monitoring. When it becomes convenient, it's a lot easier for consumers to use on a regular basis.
And so for a medical device company, what are the particular reasons why you're entering into the China market?
Very simple. We view ourselves as focused on consumers rather than just medical devices. And China is the #1 market for smartphones. Also, mobile device companies, the companies that will take our technology and put it into their products, roughly 80% of those are Chinese. So on the customer side, it's very clear that we have to become a very China-focused company. We manufacture the sensor in China, and also China has a large population and hypertension, high blood pressure is a problem worldwide. But WHO estimates that in China, one person dies every 15 seconds because they don't know their blood pressure. So that's just in China. And therefore, the ability to easily, quickly measure your blood pressure with medical accuracy will be valuable, not just financially for all the companies making products, etc., but also from the point of view of saving a lot of lives.
So we know a lot of multinationals, they enter the China market very specifically because of the prevalence and volume of data access. And I was curious, will this particular product, if it's meant for mass market consumerism, will this type of product have an ability for consumers to opt in to share their data, which can then be used potentially for things like research?
Yes, absolutely. Data is an important part of our world nowadays in all aspects, including medical, but also there's a lot of laws and legislation around protecting the privacy of your particularly medical data, and we have to comply with all those regulations. So it's very important to understand that it's the user who owns the data. It's their data. We are the custodian of that data for them, but it's their data.
Okay, very good. So you've opened your headquarters specifically in Shanghai, and this was done 2 years ago, is that right?
Yeah, just under 2 years ago. Very challenging because of COVID and the fact that at the time we couldn't travel here, you know, creating a company, hiring the first people, etc. It's under very difficult circumstances. I'm pleased to be here now, even though it's still very complicated to travel. And before COVID, I was here 8 or 9 times in the year. now the trips of necessity have to be less frequent and much longer.
Yeah, so the reason why I ask is there are a number of multinational companies that are interested in entering the market. And for your company to get started right at the cusp of when the global pandemic was happening, what were some of the challenges and successes that you experienced in entering the market during that very unique period of time?
I think it's, as we say, a two-edged sword. COVID has actually made the mobile health market predictions of growth almost double what they were before COVID. We thought it would take about 5 years for people to understand that doing some basic measurements themselves, temperature, blood pressure, etc., before going to see a doctor, before going to a hospital, was the way of the future. In fact, almost the whole planet learned that in about a month last year. So COVID was a big accelerator for that. But at the same time, the negative side is being able to go and meet with customers, being able to travel, even doing things like clinical trials is very difficult in the time of COVID. So two sides of the COVID effect.
Right. So you mentioned that one of the base applications for your new technology is integration into mobile technology.
Yes.
And so I assume you probably have some pretty strong deals in the pipeline with working with local manufacturers in the market.
Yes, we're talking to many large and small mobile device companies. Of course, they want a lot of confidentiality around their product plans, so there's very little I can say about it, but you know, we're very proud of the fact that even some of the largest companies on the planet are working with us.
Okay. And tell us about your staffing resources here in China. How many people do you have here on the ground, both in manufacturing, here at your operations and business headquarters?
At the moment it's a pretty small team. We use a substantial company as a subcontractor for the manufacture here near Shanghai. And we expect to grow that over the next year, so within a year I would expect us to have more headcount in China than the rest of the world.
Okay, very good. And why did you particularly choose Shanghai as your headquarters space?
We see Shanghai as being important both from the point of view of manufacturing, a lot of component suppliers for us, and assembly and other semiconductor services are near Shanghai. Shanghai also is a very good, I would say, more, you know, internationally friendly city than some others in China. It's a very open city. It's been easier for us to probably get established here than if we'd gone to some other area. And of course we have, you know, a lot of focus also in Shenzhen for customers. Many mobile device companies have offices there, but I have to say personally I quite enjoy visiting Shanghai.
Very good. Any favorite places, things that you enjoy?
Oh, I enjoy Chinese food, so that's always a treat when I come to explore different cuisines from around China. It's something which I do too much of.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like things are very positive, and obviously on the cusp of an IPO, you guys will be making lots of plans for scale-ups. In terms of your talent acquisition strategy, I know things are difficult right now, but a lot of companies ask this question. What is your strategy moving forward with bringing in foreign talent into the city as you scale up?
In general, we're trying to hire locally rather than bring people in. So up to now, everyone in China has come from China. We're not trying to bring people in from outside. There's a very good skill set here for all the things that we need. So we're trying to become a Chinese company rather than be viewed or behaving too much as an international company doing business in China.
Okay, very good. Any parting thoughts with regards to the future prospects for LMD?
No, I think you covered many things, but it's an interesting time for us. We've just completed, well, a hospital has completed an independent clinical trial, the first ever in the world to prove a device is as accurate, in fact more accurate than the standard requires for a cuff for measuring blood pressure. So it's an important time for us. We look forward to the ability to do an IPO in the future. We see scale up now, a very interesting time as we grow, and obviously we're talking with investors to grow the operations here and scale them up as fast as possible.
Very good. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mark.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
And hope to see you around again more in the future.
Hope so too. Cheers.